everyone, and welcome to Country Craft Creations 2023 New Year's Eve crop. I'm excited to kick things off with a challenge this year, and I will be showing you how to create. I wonder what it is. Okay, let's get started. So for my project for the New Year's Eve crop for Country Craft Creations, I created 3 different styles of crowns, and they vary in level of intensity. Let's start with the most intense one, and I say that only because it is a lot of finger work to manipulate the paper into these adorable little heart shapes. And what we end up creating is a heart crown. I love this one. It looks so regal, especially with the gold and purple. And for this crown, I used the Soar Paper Collection by Country Craft Creations. I absolutely love the combination of these colors. And then I added gemstones on top of this. We have a strand that's all the same size, and then smaller gems in between, and then one large one for the front of the crown. So that made it easy to know where the front was. So I absolutely love this one. Super cute, and it was fun to learn how to create. That's the most intense crown. So here is our next crown. This is what I'm calling the triangle crown. This one can be made for anyone. You won't often see men walk around with a heart crown. Maybe they will. I don't know. This one looks pretty regal. But this one you can create for anyone. You can also increase the size of the triangle shapes that we use here, so that if you wanted a wider crown to be taller, you could just increase the size of the paper here that we use. And I do talk about that in the tutorial that's following this portion of the video. So for this crown, I alternated my pattern paper here, of which I use Midnight Kiss by Country Craft Creations. Love that paper collection. It's so wonderful. These are all the gorgeous papers in it. I did then bling it out with some rhinestones here around the edge, as well as I alternated them on every other piece that I added. And then on every other one, I added these little teardrops with the gem on each one of them. Some of them are hard to see, but I do like having them on there. It's really pretty in person. And I could have added the little gems here to each one of these little mountains, but I like that this does give it a little bit of dimension when you put it on, with it only being on the background triangles that we have there. So this one is lots of fun and easy to do as well. And then of course our most easiest crown is this one. Super easy, and this is what I'm calling the punch crown, because we actually use a punch to create this beautiful decorative edge at the top. You can use a punch for that. You can use a die. You can use hand cutting to create your wavy top for the part of the crown, and then just add your decorative blinging elements down below, which I've done here with some pearls and then some gemstones. Super, super cute. And for this one, I used the Music Box Paper Collection by Country Craft Creations. Gorgeous. I really love the stripe on the inside. So I was having a hard time, which side do I want to use? And then I found when I created it, I actually could flip this inside out if I wanted to. So it's like 2 crowns in one. Look at that. So it could be for a man or a woman, you know, it's kind of fun. It's a reversible crown. I would just need to add my bling to the inside here, but super fun. So there are your 3 crowns that I have created for you. Now, to participate in the New Year's Eve Crop Challenge, what you need to do is create one of these crowns, bling them out however you want to, add ribbons, shakers, glitter, the little pearls, whatever you have in your stash, bling it up, right? I'm a little bit of a minimalist when it comes to my crowns, so I didn't put too much on there, but you can go all out. I can't wait to see what you all create. And in fact, we have created an event on Country Craft Creations New Year's Eve crop Facebook group, and I'll have that link down below for you. So you can go out to that group, upload your photo of maybe you and your crown, or just your crown. If you're a little shy, it's okay too. But post your pictures by January 1st, noontime, and that is Mountain Standard Time. The fun part is us designers get to go out and see what wonderful creations you have made, and we get to vote on who will be the lucky winner. Yay! And the lucky winner will receive a $25 gift certificate for Country Craft Creations online store. So exciting. So I hope that you are going to participate and create a crown. And if you don't want to be part of the challenge, it's okay. Make a crown. You deserve it. So let's get started with the tutorial. To create this, it does take a lot of finger work, so I'm just going to mention that now for those that might have a difficulty maneuvering their fingers. This may not be the crown for you. But for those that are interested and for those that are just curious as to how to create it, let me go ahead and show you. So on the back side here, I'm going to pull this open just so that you can see initially that these are just closed by interlocking the two segments. So we're going to create one segment and it will have one heart. And that's how it is all the way around. So to create these different segments, you're going to need 10 pieces of pattern paper, and these measure 3 by 4. You're going to score these on the short side at 1, 2, and 2.5. Now, if you want, you can rotate this once to the left and do a little tick mark at 2. And I'm just doing it very small, maybe 1/8 of an inch, if that, right there. Hopefully you can see that. Just one little tick mark. The next thing we want to do is at our 1-inch score line that we just made, we're going to fold that piece under. Fold under and burnish. You can use your fingers to burnish, or you can use your scoring tool. Now let's turn this to the side where the long side is at the top, going across. That's where we have our little tick mark. I'll put a little pencil mark on mine just so that maybe that'll help you see it a little bit better, but right there. We're going to take the right corner, the lower right corner, and we're going to fold this over like a triangle right at the tick mark that we created. So just fold this over. You're going to want to square these off when you fold it over. Make sure the edges line up. Nothing should be going over. And then I kind of just like pinch this, or you can use your scoring tool. Whatever works best for you. Now we're going to take what I'm calling the lower, this to me is the upper, the lower left corner. We're going to fold this up and over, again, like a triangle. See how I do that? Just put my finger here diagonally, fold up and over it. Folding to the tick mark. And what you should do is make sure these two folds line up. So you're not going to go over the fold, right? You're not going to go like that. You're going to line them up, and they're going to be side by side. Now, if there's a little gap in between the two of them, it's okay. You'll see that some of mine have gaps. Here's a good one. But it's okay. It all looks good. And then, again, just burnish once you have that folded over. So it's nice and flat across the top. Let's flip this around. And this is our 2.5-inch score line here at the top. We're going to fold everything at the top down onto the score line. It should fold over rather easily, and then I do like to use my scoring tool on that. So that's what it looks like. Now, if you notice, if I push down here on this longer piece, you'll see there's a short piece of pattern paper there, right? And on this side as well. We're going to work on these little pieces. So we're going to put our finger under there, kind of push it open with our thumb, and then we're going to push with our other thumb, kind of making it like an arrow. You see that little arrow? Looks like an arrow to me. And then again, pinch that flat. I'll do the other side. So I'm putting my finger in, kind of opening it up, and then I'm taking my other finger and pushing down on this area. So it's the corner that we're pushing down on. What you should have are what I think are little arrows, but the 2 points should be meeting each other pretty good. If they're off a little bit, it's okay. This is a fun project. It doesn't have to be exact. So they should meet there in the middle. Now what we're going to do is these little tails here on each side, we're going to fold these down like a triangle as well. You're going to fold these down right to the top of this piece right here. So fold over and like a triangle. Fold down and over like a triangle. Now at this point you can do 2 things. One, you could be a little bit more exact, and another way you can just wing it. If you're going to wing it, you're just going to take your finger and kind of fold over the tip of the top there. Just fold it down a little bit like that. That becomes actually the top of our heart. See, before it's kind of pointy. Nobody wants a pointy heart. So we kind of want to give it that round look. And then you do the same over here. Maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Fold down and round it. Now the way that I've been making these, this is a little bit more exact. I use my scoreboard. And this is a whole method that I came up with. So what I do is I line up this area here with the 5 5/8, and this is just me, you guys. You do not need to do this. You know, I like to be a little bit exact, so I have an issue. So I line that up. Let's try and show you. Here's the 5/8 inch mark. I line it up with the edge of this 5/8 mark. So I'm not in the line where it would be scored. I'm just right at the edge of it. So if you can see, I can still get my scoring tool in there. It's just right here at the edge. I'm not sure what angle would help. But I line those up right at the edge of the 5/8. And then I go over to the 6 mark and I make a score line going across my heart tips, right? And oh my gosh, I couldn't have done it any better because they're lining up exactly where I did it by hand. Goes to show you I've been doing this for a while. And then I fold over. It's the same thing. It just ensures that all of your tips are being folded over at approximately, I mean, we can't be really exact, right? At the same height. And then when we flip this over, we have our single heart piece. Okay? I'm going to bring in my crown and we're going to add this to an existing piece that's already there. So what we're going to do is interlock this piece with this piece. We're going to match up the hearts. So as you can see, here's the edge of the heart and here's the edge of the heart, right? We're going to line those up to where they match together, just like that. Well, that just fit right in there. See that? Or you can go this way, whichever works for you. So you're just taking the tip of one of these pieces, and you're tucking it behind the heart. Super, super easy. Now there's really no gluing needed. However, I have been gluing my pieces down to give them a little bit more strength. So this little piece here, once I've interlocked them, I have been gluing down because, you know, I want it to last a little bit. And I've been gluing this piece down as well. And underneath it. So I would just look at the back of the heart. If you see looseness that you don't like, just glue it down. That's really all I did. I had no particular reason for doing any of my gluing. I did glue the tips down. So that's good. And now I have one more to add. So I'm going to show you that one more time. And this time I'm just going to show you rather than talk through it. Some people might like that version better. So this is cut out, it's scored, and I'm going to start by folding under. And there we have it. And now we can add this one to our crown. So I alternated my colors. I'm going to add this one over here. I'm just going to slip it in and behind the heart there and line those sides up. I'm going to take the other side and we're going to interlock these as well because that completes our crown. Now, as I mentioned, I do like to glue them down, so I'm just going to unlock this one and get this glued down first. I just find that it makes it more secure. So I'm going to put that in place where I want it, and then come back here and start gluing this down. I do like to hold it because the paper wants to open back up. So this gives you a better look at what I'm actually gluing. I'm gluing in between here and behind here. I'm going to connect my last two pieces here. And now I can glue these two pieces together. To top this off, I'm just going to add my little gemstone here. And you can really decorate these however you like. And there you have it, your heart crown. Super fun. If you are worried about the looks on the inside, you could cut a band and glue that on top of this. But quite frankly, no one's going to see that if you're wearing it. So that's purely up to you. I'm not going to do it. You would need a 1/2 inch piece by 12, And you may even need a longer piece as well. So you may want to cut 2 at the same time and then just glue that on over this center portion. And if you don't like these puffing out, you can glue them down as well. Again, like I said, I would just look at the back of this. If you see something open that you don't want to be opened, then just glue it shut. It's all good. Okay, but that's it. That is our heart crown. That is our first version. For our next crown, we're going to be creating what I'm calling the triangle crown, and that is a little bit simpler than the first one that I shared with you, the heart crown. And we only need 10 to 12 pieces of 3 by 3 pattern paper to create this. Now, again, these are sized to fit, so if you find that someone has a larger head than the number of papers that I'm giving you, or a smaller head, then just subtract or add the number of papers to create the base of the crown, okay? So cut out your 10 to 12 pieces. For me, I used 10 pieces of 3 by 3. And you're going to take this and turn it to where one of the corners is in the center. So I'm just going to rotate this right around about 45 degrees, if you see that. 45 degrees. I'm going to put this in my scoreboard. I'm just using my 6 mark here. I'm lining it up to where the top and the bottom points are in alignment with my 6-inch score mark, and then I'm going to score. So you want to do that for each of your pieces and then fold and burnish. Once you've folded and burnished your piece, put it back into your scoreboard, and at the halfway point you're going to make a tick mark. So if I just put this in and put my point on the open end in my scoreboard at 6, which is really the easiest, that makes sure that it is even on both sides. You're going to go up to the 6 mark and make a little tick mark, kind of like what we did before in the first one, right, like that. And the next thing I'm going to show you is also an option. It just makes it a little bit easier when you're putting the crown together. So leaving this tick mark here at 6, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take a pen or a pencil and go in on the inside, and I'm going to make a mark at 6 as well, or the halfway point in between. So as you can see here is my halfway point. It should be right where the tick mark is. So as you can see, there's my tick mark, and here's my mark. Again, this is just going to be a guide, and it should help you in putting it all together. Now, before we move on with actually creating the crown, I wanted to share with you that at this point, if you wanted to make this not a straight edge, you could use some of our, I'm sure a lot of you have these decorative scissors in your stash. You could use these to then cut along the edge of your triangle, right here and here. The folded part should be kept flat. So you would only cut your pieces on the sides. And then that would give you a nice decorative edge. So there are 2 options for you to create a straight edge or a decorative edge. So go ahead and fold all your pieces, make your tick marks if you're doing that, and get these pieces ready. Here are all of my pieces, and I put them together with paper clips just so that I could figure out how I wanted my pattern pieces to go. So as you can see, I didn't use 1 pattern paper or even 2 pattern papers. I actually ended up using 5 different patterns for this crown. So here are all of the different patterns that I used. Initially, I started with 6. And I had this in here as well. But I found having 2 more of these in my crown made it way too big for me. So I started out with the 12 3x3 pieces and ended up going down to 10. So as you can see here, we have full triangles on the outside. And then we have these little bitty pieces or smaller triangles on the inside here in the back. So make sure that you determine the order that you want your pattern paper to go in. Then decide which patterns you want to be more prevalent or more seeable on the outside of your crown. And then identify which ones you want to be less seeable or less defined, right? That's these pieces. And put those in a pile. So you should have 2 different piles, one that you're going to see more of, one that you're going to see less of. Now, another thing that we could probably do before we actually start putting the pieces together is to go through and glue all of the pieces that will be on the inside of our outside triangle, right? We could glue these shut. So I would just come in here with some adhesive and put a little on there and go ahead and glue these shut. Before we get started, another thing that I thought about doing was adding some ink along the edges of my triangles, and I think I'm going to do that. I really like this. This is a gold metallic that I've used just along the edge here. And I just think it gives it a nice little touch. So you may want to consider doing that as well. And it's probably best to do that before we put the whole thing together. It'll just be a lot easier. So if you aren't making a decorative edge this way, now you can do one with the ink. So really there's 3 ways you can do it so far that I've showed you. Just do it like a flat straight edge, adding ink to the edge, or making a decorative edge. Just that little bit of gold, I don't know, kind of pops. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink all of my edges. Get them all ready. Now you can do the insides if you want. They won't be seen too much, but I guess I might as well since I'm here doing it. Cute, cute, cute. And might as well do this one, and then I'm going to show you how to interlink these and glue it all together. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my order if I take them all apart. So you know what? I think I'll just do the process and you guys can watch. So as I go through this process, you see that I have my one pile of the ones that will be seen more than this pile, and then these are getting glued together. You can do this as an assembly line and do all of one task at a time, or like me, I'm kind of mixing it up and doing a little bit of it all at the same time. My inking, my gluing. I think I just messed up. That was supposed to be over here. Okay. See, this is why I wanted them to be left together. But no worries. I can use that one later in the place that I took this one from. Okay. Most of my black pattern paper are on the inside, so those will all get glued together. Okay, now that we have that part done, we're going to start putting this all together. I'm going to move these up a little bit, I think. So I'm going to take my first piece, and what I'm going to do is I'll be adding my inside piece, which is glued together, up to the dot that we made in the center of our 3x3. Like that. So you can add some glue here, then take your piece, add it up to the dot. So you're kind of just laying it right there in the center. And we can come back and glue these more if we need to later. But you're going to fold that over right on top of it, and then this would, of course, be glued on. Okay, so we have our first one in there. Now we're going to take our next open piece. And another way that you can do this is to just add glue right along the score line up to the little tick mark that we made. And then lay this piece in there, just like that, up to the tick mark. Now, in addition to the tick mark on the inside, remember we created one on the outside, so you can use that as a guide as well. So that's just another way to do this. Putting the glue down the center there. And then see our little points of our triangles line up right where the tick mark is. Personally, I like just gluing it on. It just seems easier to do than to just put that little bead there in the center, which doesn't hold it very well. Okay. So our next piece will be one that's glued. We're going to add that here. Again, you're going to butt up the two corners of the triangles right at the tick mark, right there. Okay. And you're only adding glue right here to this like point. And I'm just laying it right on top of the score line there. If that helps at all. I don't know. But I am making sure I can still fold this over. Remember, I'm going to come back and glue these down a little bit better on the front. But I want to get this all together first. So here's my next piece. Adding glue to the back of my inside piece, aligning it. For this one, I can barely see my tick mark right there, so using the outside tick mark would be helpful. There we go. Last one. So you really just repeat that process till you get them all together. Lining up the points, making sure it's flush to the score line, and burnishing. If these overlap a little bit in here, it's okay, because I'm looking at my tick mark on the outside as well as the inside there. So you see I have mine alternating here in the back and then in the front. Now, once you have all of these connected, we can go back and glue down the front piece a little bit better. So all you're going to do is just add adhesive kind of on that triangle area. It's probably easier to do it up here. It took me a minute. Getting glue everywhere but where I need it to be. Now we're on the last one. Let's go ahead and add our glue, but don't glue it together yet. I want to show you that we're going to connect the two ends. So my glue is all ready. We're going to bring this around, make our circle, right? Line these up just like we've been doing, lining the tip of my last triangle right at the tick mark, down inside, and there we go. And then just, probably easier to just use your fingers to put those together. You can kind of roll it around, give it a little curve, and there it is. Super cute. I really like this one. So if you want to make the crown a little bit higher, you could always increase the size of the pattern paper that we cut initially. From a 3x3, you could go 4x4 or 5x5 if you wanted to, and then just do the same process of putting it together. But I really like this. I think it's cute. I like the different pattern papers on here. It's a great way to use your stash. For this next design, I'm calling it the punch crown because I'm using a punch to create the decorative part of the crown. If you have a punch, you can use any one that you have, or if you are very artistic, you could actually draw some points on some pattern paper and let that be your decorative design at the top. But I cut out 2 strips that are 3x12. I already did some punching on this one. I just love the floral in this paper. It's the Music Box collection by Country Craft Creations. And what I'm going to do for this one is actually turn this around, putting the florals at the bottom and a punch out up at the top. Now remember, this is just one idea and a way to use your tools and products that you have in your stash. So I'm having a hard time seeing and lining this up with the glare and not being able to put my head over this. So I'm going to go ahead and punch this offline and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have punched out my decorative edge. And what I'm going to do is connect these 2 pieces by overlapping them by about 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to use some adhesive tape. Now you can do it just down here at the bottom and maybe use some glue up at the top. I think that's what I'll do, just so that there's no stickiness gonna get caught on your hair or anything. So I'm just putting adhesive tape down on this end, not up here where the holes are punched. Okay, now we're just going to overlap our two pieces where we added the adhesive. Again, it's about 1/2 inch. Just make sure they're flat at the bottom here. And then at the top, I'm just going to dab on some glue in some spots there. That will work much better. At this point, you can take the crown and measure it to the head of whoever you're creating this for, or you can create a generalized size, right? So you could just take this and put it together and add adhesive on this end and attach like we just did. That will make a very large crown. So you could pre-tape this and then have it ready, and then whoever opts into wearing it can resize it at that time, right? Just leave it in the basket. Like if you've created a bunch of crowns, just leave this one as is with the tape backing on. And then when they're ready to put it on, remove the backing, size it up, attach the two pieces, and cut off what you don't need. That'd be a good way to do that for like parties and such. On average, you might need 20 to 24 inches, and the two 12-inch pieces will be 24. So you can modify them as you need to. I did test this one on my head, and I could cut off about 1 3/4 inch, but remember I want to overlap them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. There we go. And really I could just leave it like that, or I could get in here and cut off some of the excess. I mean, you can't even really tell. I think I'll just leave it. So there you have another crown, and you can go ahead and decorate. You could add ribbon, pom-poms around here, just all kinds of things. Just use your imagination. But I just love the idea of a simple crown design where we just take some pattern paper or cardstock, punch out the edge of it, and then it's already, you know, kind of decorated for you. Just leave it like this, or you could even add some embellishments. So in this video, I have shown you 3 different ways to create a crown and varying intensities of creation, right? We started out with the most intense one, which was the heart crown. Our intermediate crown, right? The triangle crown, and really even that was quite simple to make. And then of course we had our most simple crown, which was doing the decorative punch around the paper. And even then, I still love it. I might use this to watch Barbie in. Because it's all pink. Anyways, I hope that you partake in our challenge that we have going on today for Country Craft Creations New Year's Eve crop. Don't forget to post your photo in the Facebook group, and I'll have that link down below for you. Enjoy the rest of the New Year's Eve crop, and I wish you all a fantastic new year. I can't wait to do some more crafting with you in 2024. I'll see you then.